Okay everybody, welcome back. Today's video is going to be a little bit different than normal. I got my trusty phone with the notes on it. I just want to go over a couple quick things in regards to doing projects in the garage. And you can really apply this to anything. But there's actually going to be 5 of these topics we're going to go over. And it's in no particular order of importance to anybody else but me. Or maybe it is, I don't know. But we're going to find out right now. So we're going to start at the top. Number 5, plan your project and do your due diligence, but don't get into analysis paralysis. Enjoy your project if you overspend your mind power, your ability, or your resources. If it helps, plan it out on paper and check mark the pros and the cons. Then it will likely become more clear. Most projects are driven by one of 2 things, either budget or time. We all know that, especially when it comes to hot rods and things like that. Pick a point in which you can call that project complete. If you miss this step, the project becomes perpetual and will likely not ever have a clear end to it. You can always add to it later. That's no big deal. Number 4, quality of effort. Put 100% effort into the quality of your work. It will pay off. If you're building a hot rod, clean routing of wires, hoses, and things like that really make the project look good, gives you a sense of pride. It also makes the car, the hot rod, the project easier to maintain should the need arise at a later date. It will. It's a car. Use the same fasteners. Use the same fasteners in common areas to facilitate time. Take note of that. We're coming back to that. Things like straight cuts, rivets in a straight line, bundled wires, grinding marks, ugly welds. These are all things that can make a project good or bad. They can make your pride at an all-time high or make you want to keep the hood shut. If you're building a doghouse, you wouldn't want it to look like wet, dilapidated cardboard boxes in a third world country, would you? And your dog wouldn't want to live in it. He would appreciate it if it was nice and straight. He likes straight rivets and clean lines and all those things, just like we do. Number 3, budget. Pick a budget, stick to it. This is a very important part right here. If you don't pick a budget and you don't stick to it, your project will undoubtedly spiral out of control. Be prepared to wait for the right part at the right price. Be prepared to drive to get the right part at the right price, because it's probably on Craigslist, not in your town, not nearby. You got to meet somebody's schedule, something like that. Keep in mind, the time you spend on this particular project or on this particular part, time has a value to it, and we only get so much time. Now you have to keep in mind that the budget and the time, they run hand in hand. If you spend 5 hours to save $20 on a $120 part, it doesn't make much sense to do that, does it? Now there are times when the budget will override that and the $120 simply isn't there, or the $20 or whatever the savings difference is. And it's one of those things where you have to make a judgment call. When you're in the middle of your project and the budget, you're right on track for your budget, but then those shiny wheels come up, those extra fancy gauges that you don't necessarily need, that you already have some in your car, you just want to replace them because they're faded or something like that. That $500 set of ratchet wrenches off the tool truck that you're only going to make $20 payments on, it's still $500. Keep those things in mind. That can potentially spiral a project out of control as far as budget is concerned. That leads us to the next part. Number 2, tools. Some tools are truly better than others, but let me ask you this, and this is going to actually go into a separate video at some point in time. Can a Matco wrench, a snap-on wrench, a Craftsman wrench, a Taiwan wrench, or any other wrench tighten a bolt any more effectively than its predecessor? No. Can it break earlier, sooner, later, quicker, faster, bend? Sure. Can a snap-on wrench break? Yes. Can a Taiwan wrench break? Yes. Is there a pride thing associated with owning the more expensive tools? Absolutely. Is it important to buy American whenever possible? Absolutely. Sometimes budget dictates us to do things that we don't want to do, and that could possibly include lesser expensive tools. So keep those things in mind. One more thing to drive a potential project budget through the moon, past the moon, beyond the moon. The number one most important thing in a project is time. You can't earn it, you can't buy it, you can't change it, you can't save it, you can't do anything else but use the 24 hours you get in a day. Spend it wisely. This is the most important part. Spend your time wisely. You don't need eight consecutive hours to get a lot done on a project. 30 minutes, an hour and a half here or there goes a long ways in the end goal of the project, of getting it done in a certain amount of time. Try to be as comfortable as you can when you're doing your projects. Myself, I don't like to work in the heat, so I have an air conditioner in my garage. It's 70 degrees in here year round. That's how I get stuff done. It's a little bit different for everybody else. Just food for thought. Thanks everybody for stopping by to check out this video. It's just 5 tips of problems that I always run into doing projects for other people. It's always budget and it's always time. So those 5 tips are always going to revolve around that. There's any number of a million different ways to look at it. So keep that in mind. And having said that, I'd love to hear what you got to say about it, some of your thoughts on it. So post in the comments down below. Let's see what everybody else thinks. Thanks guys, I appreciate it, and we will see you in the next video. Don't forget the like and subscribe button down there in the corner. I appreciate it guys.